Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Meditation Momma Podcast, Season 2, Episode 4, as we continue our series on the teaching stories that meditators use to help them navigate situations in their lives with a little more wisdom and insight. And our story for today is called The Disciple and the Raft. So, welcome everyone. I'm Caren Prentice. I am the founder of Meditation Momma, and I am happy you're here with us today for this little story. It's a little story, and it goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a disciple who was pretty sure he was ready for that last technique that would take him all the way to enlightenment. So he went up to his guru and he said, I think I'm ready. I really do. Would you please teach me that last, final, most wonderful technique? And the gurus thought about it and she said, I'm just not sure you're ready. Give it some time, and ask me later. Well, a week later, the disciple comes back and has said, I really do think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Would you please teach me that technique? And the guru said so kindly, I know you think you're ready, but I'm not sure you are. So let's give it some time. Give it some time. Give it some time. I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I think you're ready. Well, so the disciple left, and the guru didn't think much more about it because there is a thing in some of this meditation world where if if a disciple or student asks the guru 3 times, on the third time, the guru kind of has to say yes. And so a week later, the disciple came back to the guru and he said, I really think I'm ready. Could you please teach me that technique? And the guru took a deep breath, said, okay, all right. And so she went and meditated on it, decided what to do, and she thought and thought, and she decided, okay, on this day, at this time, in this place will be the most auspicious opportunity for me to teach this technique to this eager young disciple. So she went and found him and said, okay, 3 days from now, I want you to meet me at the top of that mountain over there. And at 5:30 a.m., 3 days from now, that is the auspicious moment for me to teach you this technique. So I will be waiting for you. And he said, I will be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. And so the guru took off and she made her way up to the top of the mountain so she could start preparing for this most auspicious, important transmission of this technique that would literally take this disciple to enlightenment. In the meantime, the disciple got ready, preparing for this journey because it's quite a bit of terrain to cross. And so he packed up all his supplies and he got himself ready and he set off. Well, the evening before that third day, that morning, arrived and the guru was waiting. Everything was prepared and there was no disciple. And she was looking down the trail, looking down the mountain, hoping to see him. Nothing, no sound, no sight. And she waited and she waited and the sun gently set and she waited and she waited. She built a fire. She waited and she waited. And then the next morning, around 5, the pre-dawn began. And she was waiting and waiting and waiting. And then sure enough, 5:30 came. The auspicious moment came. And the disciple wasn't there. And she waited, hoping, could we just kind of in this magic moment, could we maybe in any moment he would appear? And it became clear he wasn't going to be there. And so she packed everything up and started to make her way back down the mountain. And as she was climbing down, she could hear some sounds ahead of her. And as she turned a corner, she saw the disciple And he was lugging a raft up the mountain trail. And she stood before him incredulous and she said, "What is that?" And he said, "It's my raft." And she said, "Well, you missed the moment." And the disciple said, "But it took me so much longer because of this. Couldn't we?" And she said, "No, the magic moment has passed." And she said, "Why didn't you leave the raft at the river?" The disciple looked at her with complete sincerity and said, "Well, I might need it." And the guru looked around and she looked out over the landscape of this mountain peak. No rivers, no lakes in sight. And she looked back at the disciple and she realized, he wasn't ready. And she gently smiled at the disciple and continued to make her way down the mountain. And the disciple was left to ponder the foolishness of his choices. And so that's the way the story is told, but I want to give you another way to look at it. Because on one hand, the disciple traditionally is looked at as foolish to have lugged this raft up into the mountain where obviously not needed, but didn't want to be caught unprepared, and so had lugged this unnecessary raft along with him. But I want to change that narrative tonight as we talk, or today, or whenever you're listening, and to point out that perhaps the disciple on some level knew he wasn't ready. Have you ever been in a situation like that where there was something you wanted it so much, and the moment came and you couldn't show up? You couldn't quite do it. It was like something in you just wasn't ready for the change it would bring to your life. Something in you wasn't quite ready for the magnitude of the new way of being. Perhaps a part of you was scared. And I think what I've learned over these years of meditating is that instead of the disciple being thought of as foolish, is for us humans, like the disciple, to recognize, sometimes we do things because it's more important for us to be safe than to take that risk and go for whatever it is we're yearning for. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's writing that book, whether it's going deep into meditation to find enlightenment, these kinds of changes can be scary. And sometimes we lug along with us the things that make us feel safe. And maybe what's important for us is to recognize that right now it's important for me to be safe. It's more important for me to be safe than to reach for that technique that will take me to enlightenment, or to reach for that job or that relationship. And maybe that's okay. Maybe instead of being thought of as foolish or beating ourselves up for not having the courage or whatever it might be, we can be very kind and gentle as we look at ourselves and go, okay. All right, I'm a little scared of this. It's okay to be scared. And to just acknowledge that sometimes we're not quite ready for the change we yearn for. We can still yearn for it, but maybe we're not quite ready. And maybe we need to look at our fears and take them seriously. I mean, because on one hand, the raft, it's a symbol of protection, right? It was a safe way to cross the river. And there's nothing wrong with making sure that we're safe. The wisdom that meditation brings is the discernment to know when keeping us safe is preventing us from moving into the life, the happiness, the contentment our hearts long for. And then once we have the discernment to say, oh, this is an old way of being that is keeping me safe, and I want to move on. But instead of doing it abruptly and with judgment, we take the time to reassure ourselves that we can find a way to do this that can bring us the confidence and the courage to take the leap, to take the risk, to let go of the old so that we can move into the new. And so I'm going to bring this back to a really mundane example of sometimes what this story is used for as a teaching point, which is we all have stuff in our house, right? We all have, well, maybe not, I shouldn't say all of us. Some of you have been really doing the Marie Kondo thing and you're like totally decluttered and all. But I know for me, I spent decades carrying with me things that I didn't use anymore, but I just might need, right? And I carried around and carried around. And then the day comes and I'm clearing out and I go, you know what? I haven't used this in 20 years. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Goodwill. And so I give it to Goodwill. And literally 2 days later, I'm doing something comes up and, I could use that now. Now I could finally use that. And there's two ways to approach that situation, right? One way is to go, see, I should never get rid of anything. As soon as I got rid of it, I needed it. And so my mind goes to a place of, oh, no, hold on tighter and tighter and tighter. Don't let things go. The other way to look at it is what actually happens is I get rid of it and then I need it. I could use it. Let me put it that way. I could use it. But since I don't have it, I look for another way, another solution. And inevitably, every single time, I find something else that actually works better for what I needed. Did you hear that? It actually worked better. And so if we can look at that moment and say, oh, look, I let go of it and life brought me something better. I wasn't left out high and dry with no solution. There was a solution. And if we can start to retrain our minds, instead of holding on because I might need it, but just in this little situation to just, let go, and what you need will be there. What you need will be there. You'll find another solution. You can let it go. You can let it go. And then when that new solution comes, reinforce it. See, it worked. It worked. The universe brought me, life brought me what I needed. I was able to find it. That little tiny exercise right there is what literally trains us, begins to train us to trust that what we need will be there for us when we need it. And that when we go looking for a solution, we go looking for something, it will arrive. We will discover it. We will find something. And that little bit of trust from just being okay with getting rid of something, then that moment when you need it and you don't have it, recognizing, oh, wait, but I can find it. I was able to get something even better. That tiny little activity is what begins to build the trust that, oh, I can let go of my fears. I can let go of all the things I thought I needed to have perfectly in place. And I can turn around and trust that it's going to work out. And I can let go of the old ways, the old thinking, and turn, in the symbolism of the story, towards the top of the mountain and trust that everything I need will be there for me, either in the outside world or within me, that I can figure it out, and that the universe is on my side and helping me every step of the way. And if we can start to build a sense that the universe is on my side, that what I need is going to be there for me, that's the trust and the confidence that allows us to let go of the things we don't need, and to take the risk to 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 try something we haven't tried before that will lead us towards what our heart really longs for. And so, my friends, there's many more ways you can look at this story. But for today, I wanted to just tap into that place so many of us go, where we want to be safe. Yes, we want that dream. Yes, we want that the top of the mountain. Oh, but we want to play it safe. We want to play it safe. And instead of beating ourselves up for that, or getting on our case, to just simply go, oh, okay, let me begin to train myself to trust that what I need is going to be there for me, so that I can let go of those old thoughts, those old behaviors that have kept me safe. And then I can turn around and have some confidence that I can take a risk to do it differently, and I will be okay. I will be okay. So there we go. That's the disciple in the raft story, and I hope it made some sense. I find it to be a most wonderful story when I'm trying to let go of the old and open myself up to see the new landscape of my life, and be willing to take the risk to step into that new without having to lug all the old stuff with me. It's just going to weigh me down. So with that, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're able to build a sense of trust and confidence that will allow you to let go of what's holding you back and weighing you down, so that you can turn around and step with some trust and confidence into the life you want to build for yourself. So much love, everyone. Wishing you much joy and happiness on the journey. Looking forward to being with you next time. Thank you so much for listening. I do hope you found something that was helpful or meaningful, or maybe even inspiring. If you have any questions, please email me at podcast@meditationmomma.com, and I'll be sure to answer them on one of our upcoming episodes. And in the meantime, let's all just take a moment to just let our attention drop into that heart center, and let's take this thought with us into the rest of our day, the rest of our week.
May I be happy, may I be free, joyous, grateful, safe and at ease. May I live wisely, flowing downstream, row my boat gently and sing merrily. May you be happy, may you be free, joyous, grateful, safe and at ease. May you live wisely, flowing downstream, row your boat gently and sing merrily. May all be happy, may they be free, joyous, grateful, safe and at ease. May they live wisely, flowing downstream, row their boats gently and sing merrily.